Just to be clear then, the Renaissance comes after the medieval period. Yes?
Yep.
Everyone happy with that? The chronology? Rome, Dark Ages, medieval, Renaissance. I'm patronising you now. I'm guessing you all knew that, yeah? Then you're thinking, right, okay, yeah, leave the room now. Leave the room now. Right then, so why do things happen in the history of medicine? So we're thinking about those multi-causal factors that make things happen. If you're only ever saying that it's one reason that leads to something happening in history, chances are you're probably wrong. Okay, if history was simple, I wouldn't have a job. So history is terribly complex, Lawrence, terribly complex. More than you'll ever understand, so my job status has it, all right? If I was going into the medicine exam, that is the first thing I would be doing when the examiner says start. I would be writing that down. The factors that cause change to happen in medicine. And the reason why I'd be writing that down is that although you've done the course chronologically, from Roman right through to the present day, these themes run through each of the periods. So it would be plausible for someone to say, let's look at war across a period of time. Let's look at the role of technology across a period of time. So it's not just your ability to parcel the course up into the Renaissance and medieval, it's your ability to follow a theme through the course. All right? So go in there and you write down the following factors. So what is the role that religion plays? What is the role of superstition? Is it small? Is it significant? When we looked at the Romans last time, Roman was far more superstitious than it was scientific. What's the role of technology? What did they have? What didn't they have? Are we talking about, when people research, are we talking about very brave people that are working alone in secret because the church won't tolerate what they're doing? Or are we talking about teams of scientists working collectively, collaboratively in, spanking brand new research establishments and laboratories? What was communication like? Was it peaceful like Rome, when everyone spoke one language and everyone could talk to one another and trade with one another? Straightforward like that? Or was it like the Dark Ages, where you couldn't walk anywhere for fear of attack? So people didn't learn. Were there universities? Or were there not? If there were universities, were they dominated and controlled by the church? Or were they not? What's the role of chance? What's the role of chance?
How lucky he is.
Well, yeah, that's what it is, but sometimes it plays a part and sometimes it doesn't. Fleming does in modern medicine, doesn't it? Paré will in this particular story. Do you have strong government or do you have weak government? Rome had strong government. Look what happened because of that. Good public health. There was none during the Dark Ages, very little during medieval times. It starts to get better during the Renaissance, but nowhere near as good as what we have in the 19th and 20th centuries. So the role of government. Were there any geniuses that emerged from history? We've got Galen that we looked at with Rome, but in the Renaissance we have three that we're going to look at in particular to do with medicine. Funny, what is the role of war? Bearing in mind that war can be constructive and it can be destructive. In the Renaissance, it destroys a lot, but also in the Renaissance, they're fighting wars because of ideas. And that leads to discoveries like Paré and so on and so forth. So you've got to be thinking about the things that cause change to happen in history. So my instinct would be, when they say start, put that down. If you're unsure of your chronology, write your chronology down as well. You know, Rome, Dark Ages, medieval, Renaissance, 19th century, 20th century. All right, but if you've got that, I hope you would after 5 years of studying it, 16 years of being alive, you do this, you write this down, and you make sure you understand each of them. So be able to think about the course in terms of those themes. All right, then you need to be aware of the glossary to explain the types of change that take place. Multi-causal is behind every change event that happens. But then we have that kind of change. Yes? Familiar with the word? All right, slow change. Fast change? Change for the better? Change for the worse. And the one that often confuses a lot of people, you guys were quite good at it actually, was that one there, things staying the same. So for example, the role of religion is a continuous role from the start of the course to the end of the course. To this day, religion has a part to play in medicine. Okay? Now, key words for the medicine course to do with the Renaissance. Be looking at those and be thinking about what they mean, be thinking about how they all interlink. All right? So be looking at them. Now, you're revising, you write down the ones you don't know, not the ones you do. Is there anything there that you are confused about? We've got the role of the individual. So who were they? Dissection. Why is that significant? Who did it? Bandages. A simple discovery. Who's responsible for that? Was the Renaissance a turning point? Who did the anatomical drawings? What was the significance of them? Blood circulation. Who? Who do we link that to? Why was it important? Was the Renaissance not a turning point but a trend, a slower change? What's it got to do with the Reformation that we studied in Year 8? To do with the division of the church into Protestants and Catholics? Who was Harvey? What did he do? What was his significance? Same for Vesalius. What's the role of war? What's the cautery? What's the printing press? Technology got to do with this period. Who was Paré? What did he do? What's this period got to do with challenges? Now I'm hoping you sat here now, there's nothing there that is a complete blank to you. I'm hoping. But if there's anything there that you don't know, at the end of this lecture, we need to make sure that you put your hand up and admit now to not knowing it, rather than sitting there in the exam and looking a right wally for not knowing it. Okay? You written down everything you need to write down regarding that one? Right then, let's go on. Renaissance medicine then. I think the last time we said the Romans 70-30. 70% superstition, 30% scientific. And boy, they did a lot of good stuff with that 30% of science that they had. An awful lot of good stuff. The aqueducts, the cities, the sewers, the baths. Renaissance medicine, 80-20. So what's happened? What's happened in terms of the roles of science and superstition? If Rome was 70% superstition, 30% science, what's happened when we get to the Renaissance? People will be watching this online. I could turn this around and show your faces. These people couldn't see the difference between 70% and 30% and 80% and 20%. God help us. Far away.
It was regression.
It's regression. It's regression. What's actually become more important? What's become more important in the Renaissance?
Superstition.
Superstition. Now that's not being anti-religion. That is bad for medicine. Things have got worse. So we learn from the history of medicine that the march of time isn't the march of progress. We have ups and we have downs.